What's up, everybody? On today's show, Leni owes me money. How can we get it from India to Dubai in a non-traditional way? Welcome to HardKnock Crypto episode 12. What's up, Leni? How are you today?
I'm doing not so good today.
What?
Let's leave it at that.
What's the problem?
I owe you money.
Okay.
Hey, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
This is true. Leni owes me money for a ticket, okay? And he came to Dubai a couple months ago, and I said, hey, I want you to send me money in a non-traditional way, because he's like, hey, I got to pay you. And so this is not Leni waiting for months to pay me. This is just, I was like, hey, we got to do it on the show because I don't want you to give me cash. And we need to talk about one thing that's super important to talk about in crypto, and that is how it answers the tricky question of cross-border payments. And do you have any examples of tricky cross-border payments, Leni?
You know what? It's funny you asked that question because I do. So I launched an esport company, which you're familiar with. I launched an esport company during COVID because I can't sit around and do nothing. I just, I'm not that guy. And so we had these really amazing teams from all over India competing in what's called Valorant. There's a game called Valorant. It's really popular, and they would compete from all different parts of the country. But in probably what was the biggest tournament that we were holding, I think it was in 2022, we had teams from other countries as well. We had, I think, a team from like Sri Lanka. We had a team from Pakistan that was also competing. Okay. And it just so turned out that the team that won it all was from Pakistan. Now, you have to understand, I'm in India, right? And so for whatever reason, India and Pakistan has, their challenges, and even though they're neighbors, they don't get along. But the challenge we had was I couldn't send the prize, the money, to this team. Mm-hmm. From India. And so therefore, the only way that I was able to send it was Western Union. I have my own company in the US, and sending it to Pakistan, to the team, because they won this tournament. I couldn't even send them their trophy, their winning trophy, which, I spent a ton of money on getting a trophy made, and it's sitting in my closet today. Yeah. So maybe someday.
And we should have had that on the podcast. Man, that would have been good.
Next time. Listen. So anyway, so I wasn't able to do it.
You used a very traditional way that people have used for decades, Western Union, to use antiquated banking system to send to them. And that costs fees of, I don't know. Do you remember how much the fees were?
I don't. But it was.
I'm sure it's $20, $30, $40. Yeah,
probably
for your one-time deal.
Yeah,
and that sucks. So, like, one of the cool things about crypto is there's, as we've kind of been talking about before we even jumped on the call, there's a lot of different cryptos that are trying to answer the question of how do we send cross-border payments without doing it through Swift, through wires, through Western Union. How can we do that in an easy way? And so today on the show, we're going to do that. There's a couple ways we can do this. We love Bitcoin on this show. Bitcoin is the gold standard. Mm-hmm. Is it a great payment method? No, it is not. If you look at TPS, do you know what TPS is, Leni?
No. What is that?
What is TPS? TPS is transactions per second.
Oh, yes.
Transactions per second. And
Got it.
So do you know how many transactions per second Visa runs? The credit card?
No idea. None.
I think it's something like 30,000. And
Sure.
Bitcoin runs 7 transactions per second. And so
Wow.
that's probably not the answer for a payment system. Now, there is something called the Lightning Network, and the Lightning Network sets up to be really pretty instant, but it's off-chain, and it's a whole deal that we're not going to get into today. But Solana
Next year. That's
XRP,
next year, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Solana, XRP, and Cardano, and a lot of these other ones are attempting to become like the way to send crypto in the world, really, without having to worry about, hey, we have a history in Pakistan and in India, and so we are not going to deal with each other, or even if, like, I'm sitting in the United Arab Emirates, and if in a traditional way I need money wired to me, it can take multiple days, and can be a whole deal. And like I said, Bitcoin is 7 transactions per second, but it's not meant to be like, hey, I'm going to send this instantly to you. There's better opportunities. There's also stable coins, which we haven't even hit on yet, but stable coins are pegged to the dollar, and they're an easy way to send stuff. But today, Leni and I have chosen Solana. So this is how you make a transaction from one country to the next and do it quickly. So should we do this, Leni?
Yeah, let's do this. And very quickly, in
right.
preparation for today, I went and I bought some Solana, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, and so I have that. I used Coinbase, went there, bought some, because I knew that I owed Andrew some money. And so today I'm going to try to send him some, right from my smartphone. Now, to make that happen, however, when I go, I need an address, right? I need to know where to send it to.
Exactly.
Right. And so
I
yes,
have sent Leni my Solana address, which I can pull up from my wallet, and I can send to anybody. If you want to send, I would definitely appreciate any Solana that you want to send. But I think it's important to remember too, what we're doing. You can transact on any chain that you want, and it doesn't matter if it is like today, Solana is roughly $75 a coin, or if it's XRP and it's 60 cents a coin. What we're denominating in the same way that Bitcoin is made up of Satoshis, you can send fractions of coins of Solana, of XRP, of Cardano, whatever you want to do. So basically, Leni is sending me a little less than a couple Solana, which is awesome. So
yeah, man, I am. Oh, well, I was about to send you 14,000. Hold on one second. Let me.
Solana, that'd be great.
Yeah. Sorry.
Send me all the money you have in the world.
All right. And so I went ahead, and now that I have your address, right? And this is not like your address of where you live. This is really the address for your wallet, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. This
And
is
so,
the public key for my Solana wallet.
So I have it set. I have your public key. I put in how much I need to send you in Solana. The network fee was just great. It's like 0.01 for me. And I'm going to send that now. I just hit it. I just hit send now.
Okay. So we are sitting at 3 seconds. And we'll just talk a little bit until that hits my wallet and I can see. But one of the beauties of, say, Solana is how much was that network fee?
0.01.
For you?
Now I'm waiting. Just so you know, Coinbase is asking me to verify.
Okay, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the code. Hold on one second. All right, and they have.
As you're doing that, one of the one of the things about crypto is always fees. And sometimes, like in the past couple of years, Ethereum has been the main thing for NFTs and a lot of the building on blockchain. And when the network is super busy, the fees are crazy, which sucks. I just bought an NFT even a couple of weeks ago, and the fees to move that stuff around, to mint it, just reminds me of there's got to be better ways than Ethereum. Ethereum is going to be around because it's the main network to build stuff on. But at the same time, man, the fees are crazy. And
hey, by the way, I
bought
just
some
sent it.
Solana. Okay. I bought some Solana recently, and I'm just reminded that, man, the fees are always so low. And I was talking about transactions per second, that TPS, and Visa does run between, it's roughly like 1,500 to 3,000 transactions per second. Solana supposedly can do 7,000 per second. And so it is doing double what Visa can do. And Visa is actually working with Solana to work on their blockchain, which is pretty cool. So that just bounced into my account. I quickly received I think it was $140 that Leni sent me in Solana. And how awesome was that? I am sitting in Dubai. He is sitting in
India.
Greater Delhi.
Greater Noida.
Greater Delhi, yes. Greater Delhi-ish.
Pinpointed.
So UAE to India, and we did that in seconds.
Yeah, and think about it. There's really no major intermediary who's now transacting and moving these funds across multiple entities, and they're not these additional charges that happen across these different platforms. Literally went from my exchange, right, to yours, and you have access to it today, like immediately, less than a minute. Right, is really how long it took.
Yeah, not even, I think it was like 10 seconds. Went from the time you actually, well, I mean, a nice thing was like, hey, do you want to make sure you verified that you sent that? And boom. And you could have sent me $100. You could have sent me $10. You could have sent me $100,000. It would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the amount. Now, I have been around long enough to know that if it's like a certain amount more than my bank views as allowable, it'll get flagged.
Correct.
It'll say, hey, what's the problem here? We need to review this for 48 hours. And
correct.
I hate that. I despise all of that because it's about control. And they're saying, hey, maybe even my bank, if like, let's say I wanted to send you $100,000 for a Porsche that I bought from you, and we're like, hey, this is great, but you know, you have like 2 or 3 Porsches, you're selling me one of those, right?
Yes, so, I am. Anybody who wants a Porsche, let me know.
I think if blockchain was not used for anything but this, it would be groundbreaking.
Yep.
Because you are 1,000 miles away from me, and the fact that you can do that in seconds is literally, it's mind-blowing. It's groundbreaking.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this happens because I live in India. I have my bank accounts in the US. Obviously, you know, we are transacting often, right, from the US to India for our living expenses and just kind of how we operate.
Yeah.
There have been times, you know, like I use, you know, like Wise and all these other ones, right? And but there are times where they say it's going to take 3 or 4 days because we need to reconcile certain things, right? And I'm like, okay, but I want that money right now, right? I'm about to make a purchase, and it should only take 10, 15 seconds, but I can't have access to it because now you have to reconcile this, right? And I'm like, that's not my problem. That's your problem, right? Like, but I'm the one who's impacted.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I find out like they flag it as some sort of fraud alert when I've told them 150 million times that I live here. I've updated them already. They have their records updated, but they continue to flag it. And then all of a sudden everything shuts down and I can't transact. That's like a real pain in the neck for me.
Huge.
Right?
And
But
then,
look
I
what
mean,
he
think
just
about
did.
Wise too, because I use Wise,
Yeah.
and I think I actually have to make a transfer today with Wise, but it costs a certain amount every
Right.
time you hit a certain threshold. They're the intermediary, excuse me, and they are making that percentage. And if
Correct.
we can just do that, you and me, over a blockchain, I think that's what scares like the American government is like, hey, we want to put all these regulations so that we can control it. Because if Andrew and Lenny can do it and we don't need anybody else, there's no money in that. There's no control in that. And that's
Right.
one of the beauties of crypto. That's the beauty of blockchain is that there are, and I appreciate the different blockchain projects that we have. We have our Gold 2.0, our store of value in Bitcoin. But then, hey, if I need you to pay me a minimal amount of money for something, we have your Solana, we have XRP, we have stable coins that we can just be like, oh yeah, sweet, thanks. And I think that's liberating.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I get to cross off one creditor off my list. I no longer owe Andrew any more
But
money.
I mean,
And it
doesn't
happened
this
like
make you
that.
want to be like, oh, just like that? It makes me want to be like, hey, and this is one of the beauties of actually going from theory to doing it. When I owe somebody money, I want to be like, yeah, why don't you break out your Solana wallet and I'll show you what to do?
Yeah,
Because it's not going to cost, it's literally like me handing you $100. Here you go. That didn't cost us anything.
exactly.
Because the fee is literally like, it's like a penny. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
And
No,
that's amazing.
exactly.
We'll just do it. And so, I mean, think about like when we can do that, like over Apple Pay or over our phones, and it's like built into X, like Elon wants to do with Doge, or it's built into WhatsApp. Like, oh yeah, just send it to me. It's not a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to be groundbreaking.
I think it is going to be groundbreaking. So I think that today was groundbreaking in my life, right? I just did something new that I haven't done before, right? And today, just very quickly, I hope you don't mind. Today's the 12th episode. I can't believe we've done 12 episodes.
Okay.
But I just want to very quickly review that in these 12 episodes, Andrew, you've taken me from the guy who was just really nervous, had made this huge investment, had lost, I think I lost like 60% of value in my investment, like right away in 2021. But
Sure.
you, through our 12 podcasts, I've been re-educated, have been refreshed and renewed, got back into investing, right? Encouraged by it,
Yeah.
learned a lot, to the point where I was this guy who was just not sure about my technical abilities to be able to navigate this. But we have gotten to where I'm real more educated about what's going on in the crypto world, made it to Blockchain Live 2023 and received confirmation that this was a real thing and felt positive about it, reinvested, started purchasing more again, and I'm all into this. Just need to keep buying more Bitcoin, more Bitcoin, more Bitcoin. Like, I'm
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
And then last episode, right, got it all to my cold wallet, right? So, we talked about
Yep.
self-custody. And today, made a transaction, paid a bill. That, to me,
Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
that is pretty cool. Like, I have now,
Yeah.
I got 3/4 of my body into the crypto world. There's still more to go, though.
Still more to go. I think, and I want to ask you because
Yes,
you're interested. You're the tech guy. You were in tech for years and years.
Sure.
And you and I have talked off podcast about this, but I have a question for you.
Sure.
I know that you are looking at some blockchain technology classes, and I wanted to ask
Yes.
you: have you started that? Have you opened into that?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What is that like?
No, I realized that I probably need to start in the beginning. And so I signed
Mm,
up for a blockchain class on, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Or maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Udemy? What is it?
okay.
Udemy,
Sure.
right? Yeah. And so,
Okay.
working through that and just learning, I mean, it starts with the basics, right? And for those who are,
What are some of those basics?
what is a blockchain? And how does that, just kind of how a blockchain is created, and it goes into the hash, SHA, like the secure hash
Okay.
algorithm, and you get a chance to actually.
SHA-256.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you get to kind of go through it a little bit and just do, example of how to build, how it's built, and what are all the elements
Mm,
of it, of the blocks themselves, and it goes through mining and what is mining, and so we're just kind of building out the
mm,
basics, right, and understanding. So that's kind of
mm.
where I'm at, but I am looking at other
That's great.
things in terms of where can I go to learn more, right? And so, I've thought
Mm,
about at least a good starting point if I want to learn coding is Python is a fairly common, and it's much more simple than going and learning like C++ or like Java, or any of those kind
yep.
of lang
Right.
programming languages. That Python is lightweight enough, and it allows you to actually code, right, and build your own blockchain. So
Mm,
it provides a lot. And I was like, okay, maybe I should also look at the coding aspect of it. Um, I have a really good understanding of the mining aspect after I went to Blockchain Life 2023, because I used to build data centers. And so I
mm.
understand that world quite a bit, just from the infrastructure side and processing and all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, I'm full on board, because I as I said to somebody the other day, the secret sauce for the crypto world is the blockchain, right? And so you
Yeah.
could be someone who's into investing, and you could be into, you know, just buying these assets and holding it, or you could be trading. Um, but once you get into smart contracts and you start getting a little bit into the development side or wanting to understand technology, I think you need that level of understanding. And I really feel that the next 20, 30, 50 years of our technology is going to be built on blockchain technology. And so if you want to
Yeah.
know it, and if you want to be, make this part of what you're doing and be prepared from a career perspective, like, you need to jump in, right? And there are wonderful certification process programs that are out there pursuing. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That, that's cool. I just wanted to, yeah, hear where you were at
Right?
with
I
that.
gave
I
you a
think
full.
it's sweet.
Yeah, I gave it to you
I
kind of
love it.
full. Yeah. I do think, and we've talked to some really interesting folks recently, right, about how blockchain, it goes beyond investing. It goes beyond kind of what you see on the
Mm,
surface, right? And you see how it's being used in so many different industries, and there are incredible use cases for um, just positive impact on the world. And we're talking to some really
yeah.
interesting companies recently about this kind of stuff of what they're working on. So I think 2024 is going to be a huge year for blockchain and for
Yeah. And
crypto.
I think, we've kind of taken this podcast from like just personal aspect of how do I learn more about like how it works? How do I get familiar with blockchain and what is Bitcoin? What are the projects and what's a wallet and all those things? But I think once you have kind of a handle, kind of like we've talked about you've kind of gone from that 101 to like now you're studying blockchain and obviously you think there's something in it. But it kind of takes us from that standpoint of, hey, life is not just about me, life is broader, and how can we use this in business, but also like how can we use this for the betterment of the world, and how can we go into places that are needy and use technology such as blockchain and crypto, and like we've talked about on the show before, different places in Africa that are using this for payments and other things. But like there's such a broad um, perspective of what blockchain can do in the world. And I think, like we've talked about before, we're super early, but what does that mean? What are the blockchain is the, like you say, the secret sauce, and everything else is built upon it. And it's kind of
Mhm.
like if we were in 2000 looking at the internet, well, YouTube's not mainstream, right? There's no social media is not there. All the things that, like, the internet's cool, but all the things that make the internet run weren't built for years. And I think where we're at, we're like, wow, Bitcoin, ETH, blockchain. But like in 5 years, we'll be like, these companies and these things that we had no idea about, that would make life what it is at that point in 2030, et cetera, haven't even been built yet. And so, yeah, it's a cool time to jump in.
Yeah, and just for if I want to put it in, I'm in my 50s, and so 20 years ago I was in my 30s, and that feels like it was a blink. I went from like my early 30s
Right.
to my early 50s now. So you can imagine how far we've come from like in the days before Facebook, YouTube, Netflix, all these things that are major parts of our lot, like they're part of our lives today. There was no
Right.
online banking, right? Like there was like none of
Yeah.
those type of things that we are doing today did not exist. So
Yeah.
now fast forward and imagine how quickly the next 20 years are going to come, and recognize that 20 years ago was the internet. Now today, 20 years forward, it's going to be blockchain, right? And so just
Yeah.
it's hard to wrap your head around it, but today's a really good time to start preparing yourself, because 20 years again
Yeah.
goes quickly, right? And so that's the way I'm
Boom.
looking at it. I'm super excited to be part of it. And as we coming into the new year, I think it's just really kind of being thankful to where we've come to, right? It's been
Yeah.
an exciting 2023. And I think just thankful that we get to participate and move forward in 2024 of some really, really cool things.
That's great.
Yeah. So, Andrew, we touched on a bunch of things today. Super excited. Paid one of my bills. We didn't touch too much on the news, but
Yep.
maybe we can meld news and opinion together today.
Let's do it.
And
You were telling
yeah,
me about what is happening with FTX, and
yeah,
tell me. Sometimes I've like blurred FTX out when I see it these days because I got so sick of it last year because that's all anybody
sure.
talked about. But you were telling me that, are they trying to come back, or what are they trying to do?
So I think I know that this is the last episode, but I think maybe that we put a wrapper around FTX and leave it in 2023. But I just recently read that they're now finalizing what that bankruptcy is going to look like. How do we get the, like, potentially coming out of bankruptcy, liquidating all of their crypto assets, and then paying back all the creditors and people and investors, right? I don't imagine that the creditors investors are going to get nearly what they put into it, but they will potentially get
Yeah.
something out of it. And there was this question. So,
Mm.
what does the future look like for FTX, right? So, we know that their leadership is, they're all going to prison for a gazillion years, right?
Yeah.
However, what does it mean for the company under new leadership? And I saw this, like, is there potential for new leadership? Is it potential for them to continue to operate as an exchange? And I was like, whoa, imagine if that happened.
Mm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
we is that possible? Is it even worth considering that you would want to resurrect FTX? Right? Is that an exchange that you want to throw a lifeline to and say, "Hey," right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's something that we would want to do. Like, sometimes
Yeah,
there are
I don't
some
know.
good lessons learned, and
Yeah.
there are great examples for other people who are swimming in the same waters to say, hey, let's make sure we don't do that because we don't want to end up like FTX. But if you throw them a lifeline and they come back, is it saying, hey, there is a way back from this, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe,
I don't know.
and it's like if you get such a bad name like FTX, why wouldn't you just call it something else? Or maybe you do want to prove that, hey, we've learned our lesson. That's like the whole Luna collapse. Are you familiar with Luna, the
Is that a
cryptocurrency?
cryptocurrency? Yeah. Well, I don't know the story behind it. You want to
So
share with me?
it was like Luna was like the next Cardano, et cetera. And this is back in 2021. And everybody's all jacked about this cryptocurrency called Luna. And this is Luna in 60 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
And you had big names like Raul Paul and different. One guy got like a Luna tattoo on his shoulder and was like, hey, this is it. This is it. And then the owner of Luna, forget his name, was corrupt, did all these things. Luna was going up, 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 and then all of a sudden did one of these,
Yes.
and billions of dollars gone in a matter of maybe 48 hours.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so this guy, jail, the whole deal, and a lot of people with a lot of egg on their face. But somebody resurrected Luna. You can look it up. It's on CoinGecko. The whole deal. You can check it out. But that's the same thought. Like, why would I want to buy Luna again? I feel like if you have such a poor name at this point, why wouldn't you just do something else? And that's brings me back to FTX. Do I want to be like, yeah, especially if you lost, say, like $100,000, be like, oh, I'll try it again. Why not? I bet they got it fixed. Fool me once, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? Like, I think one of these other ones I'm gonna roll with, but maybe some people will do that.
You know, it is my opinion that if anybody goes back and says, I'm going to put more money into that exchange, they are almost asking for their money to be lost.
Yeah, yeah,
And
for
if
sure.
that's what you think that you want to do, please feel free. I will share my public key. You could send me that money. I could
Yeah,
lose it for you. I'd be more
yeah,
than
it'd
happy
be
to
the
lose that
same
money for
deal.
you. Right.
Yeah,
Like it would be the same deal. You might as well just give it to me. I'll take care of it for
yeah,
you. It's
yeah.
safer with me than probably with them. So,
Yeah, like
so
it'd be like in
anyway, I thought
traditional
that was
finance
interesting.
if you were in traditional finance for like, hey, that whole Lehman Brothers thing that didn't work out, but we're gonna try it again. Let's call it Lehman
Yeah.
Brothers again,
Let's give it to them
and
again.
just
Yeah.
like nobody is gonna be like, yeah, good idea. It's funny. Who knows?
They might be yeah. Listen, I used to think that I'm terrible in terms of investing, right? But they might be worse than me if they did that.
It could be
So,
worse.
they could be
Funny.
worse. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of an interesting story that's out there. So, anything else from you, Andrew, on today's
Man, it's been a
episode?
good year. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
2024 and some of the things we got cooking. It's gonna be good. Hard Knock Crypto is here to stay, and we are gonna journey through the bull run with you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. I wore red today because it's Christmas time. It's New Year's. We're
Woo!
super excited coming to the end of the year. But I would love to just wish everybody who has joined us on the episode, we want to wish you a happy New Year and look forward to spending more time with you in the coming year. Andrew, we're
Appreciate it,
good?
guys. We're good.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
You are listening to Hard Knock Crypto. New episodes drop every Friday.